Let's discuss what went wrong in the Dariush-Ferguson fight. The heel hook was in, the bite was in, but what went wrong? Why wasn't Dariush able to get to finish? Obviously, Ferguson's a fucking psychopath, so that's number one. But mechanically, what was wrong with the position? So I have two of my students here, Jesse and Antonio, and we're just gonna discuss kind of some of the things. I'm gonna demonstrate initially what was wrong, and then I'll have them play around. So you're gonna be on your back. We'll just go right from the actual position. So number one, when he locked up the cross ashi position, here and here, Ferguson did a good job of instigating an inside position with his far leg, his secondary leg. So that was a big part of it. The pushing of the knee, the hooking of the knee, it created this loose wedge around the primary leg, which took away from the ability to create a good braking pressure on the leg. That's number one. Number two, talking about flaws, is the thumb positioning was phenomenal. But the real issue that I saw was his grip. So a lot of people are gonna say, oh, yeah, he was grabbing 10-finger grip, the 10-finger grip. Why was he doing that? I understand intuitively why he did it. The padding on the gloves. Going palm to palm, it feels like you're holding a giant snowball. It's very difficult to make a strong grip because of all the extra padding. So it makes sense why he did it, but let's just be real. You have a widened wedge, not to mention, you're grabbing finger to finger. There's no way you're gonna break a high-level guy here. So that's primarily what went wrong. So you have the insanity of Ferguson, you have the loosened wedge, and then you also have the 10-finger grip. These are all just weak positions. What have I done? What I would teach my students to do? First thing I'm doing, when I fall into this position and I get the bite, and I feel like I don't have good security, I don't worry about the break. I just secure a false grip. I'm not panicking. I'm going inside position on the knee. From here, I'm just gonna pummel my foot to the inside, and I'm gonna focus on getting my leg underneath his far hamstring. From here, all you have to do is draw your feet together. This secures the primary leg, and now you're in a position where you can go for your break. So palm to palm, we agree, isn't a strong position because obviously the padding is gonna be an issue. What I'm gonna focus on doing is going wrist to wrist by grabbing the wrist with my primary hand and then going hand to hand. So I'm grabbing this grip instead. And then from here, watch how I draw my left elbow towards my hip, and that creates the fulcrum to then go flat back and break the leg. Now that's a break from flat back as opposed to shoulder down. Shoulder down was another good option. Shoulder down wasn't necessary. Why wasn't it necessary? Ferguson tried to initially fight the hands, then he gave up on it. So there's no reason to go shoulder down. You could break him flat back. He did try to do a few funky kicks here and here, but as long as you pinch your knees in, see, there was too much of a widened wedge, which enabled him to kick and then strip the grip. If he kept his knees inside and his feet narrowly tucked like so, under the far butt cheek, as he goes to kick me, he's not able to do it. There's too much pressure on the leg itself. So I'll have you guys, Jesse, jump in. Antonio, you'll do it on him, and I'll explain to the camera kind of what needs to happen. So, Cross Ashi Garami. So first thing we do, we're in a fucking UFC fight, so number one, that's incredibly daunting, and there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of anxiety and stress. You're fighting Tony Ferguson, for God's sake. First thing is, flare the knee, expose the heel. Dariush did a great job of exposing the heel. Now from here, first things first, he's gonna be trying to pummel his secondary leg inside, not a problem. First thing we do is as he kicks, which he did pretty well, we're gonna pummel our foot back to the inside, and we're gonna go foot over foot under the far butt cheek. From here, we make vertical wedges. We're gonna go from 10-finger grip to punching down to the mat, and then going wrist to wrist. From wrist to wrist, we're gonna tuck our elbow in towards our rib cage, and from here, we can either go shoulder down or flat back, and we can start to bridge to tear the leg, and you'll get a great reaction from there. If you want to go shoulder down really quick, you go shoulder down, bridge your hips off the ground, and you create a searing effect. As you gyrate your hips over the knees, go ahead, and bridge, there we go, and you get a good tear in the leg. So those are the mechanics that have to be in place. You need a stronger grip, and you need a closed wedge around the knee. An open wedge against Tony Ferguson would never work. So, last time, closed wedge, vertical knees, a reliable grip, that's not a 10-finger grip, let's say palm to palm, or a wrist to wrist grip. And then from this position, we can start to go either flat back or shoulder down, forehead to the mat, bridge the hips, and gyrate the hips over the top of the leg. Subscribe.
Everybody place those arms down. All right.